Here in JMC, education has never been this flexible. It's been a year since the pandemic started, and we are proud to say that JMC breaks the limits of the pandemic climate and soars above its dark clouds. Indeed, no virus can stop us in delivering an assured, consistent, and quality education. This school year, to ensure that all learners will get the best learning experience, 𝘠𝘂𝘺𝘃𝗲𝗿 College Integrated Basic Education has intensified its two learning delivery options. We do believe that here in JMC, no child should be left behind.
Here are the two delivery options of 𝘠𝘂𝘺𝘃𝗲𝗿 College Integrated Basic Education. Option 1, online delivery. Students who have a stable connection to the internet shall undergo full online classes with our competent teachers on a daily basis. Online video conferencing between students and professors will be limited to 2 hours per subject each week. These online sessions will mostly be utilized for learning processing and delivering supplementary training. This is done to reduce the amount of screen time students spend while completing academics at home. Moreover, students shall also have self-regulated learning time or SLT to work independently on their learning modules. Teachers shall act as online learning coaches, guiding students' learning process. Option 2, self-paced learning. For students who see it as a challenge to secure a stable connection to the internet, teachers shall be providing modules and other instructional course packages where students can easily download on their LMS or learning management system. Students will work on these learning materials and from time to time may need to send their academic work online or discuss their progress with their teachers via email, chat, or video call on a scheduled time. They may attend online classes when their internet connection is stable enough for them to do so. Homeschool Partnership Program. Parents play a vital role in the success of online education. For students in preschool to grade 3, supervision of parents or guardians will be needed. Students should be more engaged in learning experiences. Parents and guardians shall never be a substitute for class and test hours. For students in grades 4 to 12, teachers shall consistently monitor the learner's progress and shall provide assistance at all times during the school day. Education goes on for the 𝘠𝘂𝘺𝘃𝗲𝗿 College. Your future is our mission. Enroll now!
Indeed, 𝘠𝘂𝘺𝘺𝗃𝗲𝗿 College has never been this flexible. So what are you waiting for? Enroll now!
Enroll now at JMC. Enroll now at JMC. With our assured, consistent, and quality education. Enroll now at JMC. Enroll now at JMC. Enroll now at JMC. In this new normal way, our future's our mission. Enroll now at JMC.
Hello and good morning to everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this special EduTrend. I am 𝘠𝘃𝗲𝗿, one of your hosts for today's event.
And I am Harib James Sumatra, also one of the hosts, and we would like you to give a warm welcome.
But before we start anything else, let us put ourselves in the presence of the Almighty Father as we have our opening prayer via audio-visual presentation.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فقال ربكم ادعوني أستجب لكم آمين يا رب العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم اجمع شامل المسلمين والكريستيان والأمة في مدينة دماغ وسلم دائما مجتمعنا هذا بالسلم والأمن والتقدم في بلدنا هذا آمين يا رب العالمين ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله على خير خلقه سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين يا رب العالمين.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today to praise and worship you and give you thanks for all the things you continue to provide for ourselves and our families. Father, we humbly ask for forgiveness for all the times we have offended you, when we forget to acknowledge your presence in the image of our brothers and sisters, and for moments we fail to be good stewards of the blessings you have given us. Continue to guide and protect each one of us, Lord, that we may always walk in the lights of your everlasting love and mercy. Grant us, Father, with your comfort in times of distress and with your strength in times of weakness. Bestow upon us your unending grace and healing, that we may in turn become instruments of gentleness and compassion to others. We ask all this in the name of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, with the prayer and the intercession of our Blessed Mother. Amen.
Manama, mawantog ka. Warag po ko iling ko'y ko. O Diyos, kahibulungan ka. Busa ikaw lang ang simbahon ko. Busa ikaw lang ang alagaran ko.
So, amen to that. How is everyone feeling this morning? I hope you all had your breakfast, and please make yourselves comfortable because you're in for a real treat. Partner, will you please state the topic of the Edu Trend this morning?
Yes, of course, partner. The title of today's webinar is You Are Not Alone, Fostering Mental Health Amidst Emotional Disturbance. We all know that taking care of our mental health is really important. This webinar serves as a reminder that we should not take it for granted.
Yes, indeed. I completely agree. And I'm sure a lot of people would also agree that mental health is just as important as physical health. So now, as we proceed with our program, we will now first hear a special welcome remark from the guidance facilitator of the preschool and grade school students. Please welcome Ma'am Jocelyn de la Piedra.
To our founding president, Reverend Dr. Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, to all the members of the JMC family, to our speakers for today, they will be properly introduced later. Our Jimarian parents, advisors, teachers, dear students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In these trying times, our beloved country and the entire world are suffering from from many and difficult crises. Because of this, we are undergoing different kinds of mental health problems. This mental health webinar will help us cope with the different impacts of the new normal setup brought by the pandemic. Our mental health determines how we think, feel, and act. When the term mental health problem creeps in every webinar, it is often associated with psychological or emotional pressure, such as anxiety, fear, guilt, sadness, worry, and other negative emotions or attitudes harmful to our health. On the other hand, this can be addressed properly, and that's the very reason why we have this webinar dubbed as You Are Not Alone, Fostering Mental Health Amidst Emotional Disturbance. We are all hopeful that this webinar will give us enlightenment about mental health awareness and will constantly remind us of God's promise in Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all of you who are heavily laden, and I will give you rest. Once again, in behalf of the Guidance Center, we welcome you all in this one-day webinar. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Thank you for that, Ma'am Jocelyn. I'm sure that all the students that are joining us today feel very welcome indeed.
Yes, I agree. And we are very thankful that we have the opportunity to talk about this very important topic. So now as we go on, I will introduce our first speaker. He is a graduate of BS Psychology in 𝘠𝘂 College. He is also a registered psychometrician, and he is now currently working as an assistant alumni director. And at the same time, he is also taking his master's degree in psychology in San Pedro College. So as you can tell, he is a really busy person, but we are fortunate enough that he graced us with his presence this morning.
So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, please help me welcome our first speaker, Sir 𝘠𝘂𝘃𝗲𝗿.
And so thank you so much for our hosts for today. No, thank you so much for that very overwhelming introduction. Kudos to you guys. So ayan, so I hope we can still work with you sooner or in the future. No, but before I will start with my presentation, I would like to thank, of course, the Office of the Guidance Center for inviting me to speak for this very important and relevant agenda that is really ang tawag dito, timely in this time of uncertainty, no? So, ayan, thank you so much. So, I guess let's start now. Let's flash my presentation in order for us to start the topic. So, actually, the topic assigned to me is we'll be talking about the importance of mental health, and then I also include the phrase below the title, that look after yourself. Okay, so first, before we we know what is the importance of mental health, we need to define first what mental health means. Yeah, so I guess let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, so what is mental health? So according to 𝘺𝘃𝗲𝗿 2020, mental health refers to our cognitive, our behavioral, and emotional well-being. So this aspect, the mental health actually refers to the maintenance of our successful mental activity, and this actually includes our productive daily activities, how we maintain and how we fulfill our relationships with others, and this also includes about maintaining our abilities, how we maintain our ability to adapt the change, the day-to-day change. And lastly, how we cope with our daily stresses. Lahat naman tayo, di ba? Lahat tayo, we experience a lot of stresses, and stresses does not discriminate. It comes to different ages, it comes to different races, culture, or nationality. So, hindi walang pinipili si stress or si mental illness, di ba? So, mental health actually influences how we think, how a certain person feel about himself or the others, and especially how we interpret events. So that's actually the mental health. It is about how we feel, how we think, and how we behave. So it affects our first slide muna tayo sir. Kasi okay, it affects about our capacity to learn, how we communicate and to form, how we sustain, and how we end relationships. And it also influences our ability to cope with change, how we transition, and how we adapt certain life events such as having a baby for our parents, and then sa atin naman like moving to a new house, and lastly how we experience, how we react to a certain experience such as bereavement. Okay, so next slide please. Since we are talking about mental health, let's talk about what mental illness really means. So mental illness are health conditions involving changes in emotions. Yeah, and that's the thing. These are the things that we need to notice. We need to consider changes in emotions, changes in thinking or behavior, or otherwise the combination of these factors. So mental illnesses are actually associated with distress. Distress means if things are no longer manageable, and if things are actually affected on how you deal with them. Kasi may tinatawag may tinatawag tayong good stress and bad stress. Good stress is yun yung mga yun yung kino-coin natin as eustress, which is a good stress that will help us to go with our day-to-day tasks. And these distresses may affect or may result in problems in our functioning in social, in work, in even in school, or in family activities. So, as sabi ko nga kanina, mental health is the total foundation of our emotions, our thinking, our communication, our learning, being also resilience, and self-esteem. That's the total foundation of our mental health. Mental health also is having parang may role siya to build our relationships, personal and emotional well-being, and how we contribute to community or society. That also entails our mental health. So many people who have we can't deny this one, that many people who have mental illness do not want to talk about it, di ba? May mga tao talaga na if they experience unwell, they don't want to talk about it. But we should also consider that having mental illnesses or mental health issues is nothing to be ashamed of, because it is a medical condition just like a heart disease, a diabetes, or any other physical problems. Same lang din yung mental illness na tinatawag natin. And mental health conditions are treatable. So we don't need to be afraid to look for a professional, to look for a professional help, look for an experts who can help us to overcome this kind of problems or illnesses. That's why we need to continually expand, diba, our understanding of how human brain works. May ano naman dyan, I know for sure that in primary level, may mga discussions tayo about how brain works, diba? And treatments are available naman to help people successfully manage mental health conditions. So again, mental illness does not discriminate. It can affect anyone regardless of age, regardless of gender. Kahit bata ka pa, you will probably experience this one. It does not discriminate with geography, income, social status, race or ethnicity, spirituality, sexual orientation, background, or other aspect of cultural identity. Mental health actually can occur at any age, and 3/4 of our mental illnesses begins by the age of 24. So yun daw. Pero as much as early as you are, you also experience this one. Parang hindi mo lang siya let's say you are just not aware na may ganito ka na pala kasi of the basic knowledge we have about mental illness, di ba? Mental illnesses takes in many forms, and some of them are mild and only interfere in limited ways with daily life, such as certain phobias. Phobias we considered as abnormal fears. Yun yung tinatawag nating phobias. And other mental health conditions are also severe that will end up a person need a care in a certain hospital. So next slide, please. Okay, since we're talking about mental illness, let's talk about what does good mental health look like. If you have a good mental health, you are able to first to recognize the good in yourself. If my excuse me. Excuse me, sorry. You will be able to recognize the good in yourself if you have the balance or having a good mental health, such as positive attributes. Ayan, nare-recognize mo yung yung maganda sa iyo, and achievements you have made. Nare-recognize mo din yung mga achievements na nagagawa mo every single day, even small achievements. Pag may good mental health ka na, it can really affect or foster good mood for you to be able to start on a certain day. Next, you feel and express a range of emotions. You are capable of expressing normal emotions in a normal situations. Yan, if you feel na happy ka ngayon because something good happened, you really express na happy ka talaga in a certain way. But if you feel like you're sad because something bad news came out or something bad happened, you tend to feel or to express sad emotions. Next is you feel engaged with the world around you. Ayan. This time lang, physical interaction is limited, di ba? So parang yung engagement natin, physical engagement natin to others is limited because we need to follow protocols that is being mandated by our city, di ba? But we need to follow rules in order for us to be safe. And hindi lang naman to para sa ating sarili, and of course to our friends, to our loved ones, to our families, di ba? So we have also if you have a good mental health, you feel like you need to engage, di ba? Hindi naman physically, may gadgets naman tayo, which is everything is done through online. So we just need to reach them out, to communicate with them, di ba? May eagerness tayo to reconnect with other people through social medias or any platforms. Tatawag ka ba through phone calls, di ba? And next, you feel like you're alive, and you work productively. So yung mga may mga bata kasi yung may mga kids tayo, especially the parents are kailangan nating anong tawag dito, kino-consider ko ano yung magpapa-life or ano yung pagiging productive ng mga bata natin. There are some reinforcement na ginagawa ng mga pinapractice ng mga parents in order for their child or their children na maging productive on a certain task. Diba? We need to continually do that one kasi that might help your kids to foster good mental health. So next is to cope with stresses of daily life and manage times of change and uncertainty. We cannot deny the fact that we are now living in times of uncertainty. Lahat hindi klaro sa atin, but we know for sure that this one will end. That's what we are certain of for. So let's proceed to next slide. So I'll be introducing to you the mental health continuum. This one will know if someone is healthy. We know if someone is just reacting to a certain to a certain situation or environment, or someone is injured, and then if someone is ill, diba? So if someone is healthy, makikita natin that he is calm and steady. He has a normal fluctuations in mood. Ayan, right now happy siya because there is good thing happening to him. And then other way around naman, if someone is sad because there is some bad news that came out or just happened, diba? You have these normal fluctuations of mood. You are fit, you are fed, and you are rested, in control physical, and mentally, and emotionally. You perform well, behaving ethically and morally. You are socially active. Yan, kino-consider natin yan as a healthy individual, yung mga socially active. Yan. You have the sense of humor. You have the capability or to relax and recreate. And lastly, you have the confidence in self and others. These are the things that we need to look into in order to consider that a certain person is healthy. And then actually, this is just a few of the many. Madami pa man. Madami pa naman noticeable traits na dapat nating makita when we are considering individual as healthy. Okay? So next naman, we have the reacting section. These are the normal responses whenever a certain person is dealing with a certain situation or certain person. This person become easily agitated if there's anong tawag nito, definite reason to be easily agitated. That's normal naman if may tinatawag din tayong anger. Yan, frustrated and tired. Lahat naman tayo na frustrate, diba? If we did not accomplish certain tasks that we supposed to accomplish, we end up feeling like frustrated. Tapos pag hindi naman natin na-fulfill, parang it's draining us to become more tired, and parang we really need to have some relaxation and rest. I-feel natin yan. Next one naman is difficulty focusing. Decreased interest in activities, nervous, impatient, unusual sadness, so on and so forth. Next is we have the injured. Injured naman is makikita natin if there is a persistent anxiety or sadness. Persistent means paulit-ulit na nag-i-exist. Noticeable fatigue. Yan, kailangan natin yung makita or dapat ma-notice in order for us to consider that a certain person's mental health is being injured. Poor concentration, yes. Inability to enjoy activities, that is actually signs that someone is not mentally good. Excessive distrust and resentment, sleep disturbances, isa yan sa mga factors that we have to notice in order for someone to label not having a good mental health. Hypervigilance, yung pagiging aware, sobrang aware mo na sa lahat ng mga bagay na nai-interact mo everyday. Persistent physical symptoms such as aches and pains, ayan, these are one of the factors na nakikita natin sa isang injured mental well-being of a person. Next is severe deterioration in daily functioning in work, home, or school. And then the next one, the fourth column naman, will be describing a person who is experiencing mental illness. The factors to be considered are excessive anxiety, yung too much anxiety na nafe-feel niya even though it's just normal or minimal stressors, yung anxiety niya, that certain stressors is very excessive. Next is fatigue, ayan, and sadness, excessive sadness. Next is regular panic attacks, yung hindi natin siya, wala namang reason para mag-panic yung isang tao but things get worse for him. Yung kahit minimal stressors lang, nagpapanik na siya. Diba? Angry outburst, yan. Severe memory lapses. We tend to not remember remember those things that are important to us. Diba? Next is cannot concentrate, cannot perform daily routine, yan. Significant sleep disturbances. We tend to not get enough sleep. For worst, hindi na tayo our sleeping pattern is being disturbed. Next is loss of control, avoiding or withdrawal, significant change in behaviors, and this one is the worst thing. Indications of suicidal thoughts, intentions, and intentions. Kahit na sinasabi natin, nag-joke lang yung isang tao na gusto ko nang magpakamatay, I want to buy a gun to kill myself, tapos tumawa lang siya, that we can consider that as a joke. But actually behind that one, there must be an underlying reason na baka siguro there's something wrong going on with this certain person. So we need to take note that one also, na if may na-notice kayo or hindi kayo nakita na there's something wrong, and then you think that this person is talking about death, talking about suicides, you have to take note of that. Then lastly, symptoms get worse over time instead of getting better. So if the things are getting worsening, kailangan mo din yang i-take note kasi there's something already wrong that is happening to his mental health. Okay? So let's proceed to the next slide. Okay, so let's talk about stress. So what is stress? Stress is the adverse reaction people have to excessive pressure or other types of demand placed on them. Lahat naman tayo, di ba? We all sometimes talk about stress. And we are also feeling stress. This is usually when we feel that we have too much to do and too much on our minds. Or the kaya other way around, people are making unreasonable demands on us, or we are dealing with situations that we do not have control. That's when stress will come. Stress is actually not a medical diagnosis, but we have to take note of this, that severe stress that continues for a long time may lead to a diagnosis of depression, will lead to a diagnosis of anxiety, and other mental health problems. So ano ba yung mga nagpapastress sa atin every single day? Kasi different naman yung mga stressors, depende sa age natin, di ba? May mga stressors sa adult that is not present to child kasi iba yung mga stressors sila, iba yung nagbibigay sa kanila ng stress. As I observe with my younger siblings, yung nagpapastress sa kanya is not to win the ML game. Whenever she play ML, kailangan niya talagang manalo, and then if hindi naman siya mananalo, you feel like hindi mo siya pwedeng not even to touch her kasi she feel like agitated. Parang it's for him to be angry na, it's for her to be angry na hindi siya nanalo for a certain competition. And then next is parang pag hindi siya nakahawak ng phone and on a day, parang na-stress na siya. Kasi for her kasi it is one way of relieving everything na negatively affects sa kanya. Kasi modules, school activities, she's actually fed up with those kind of stuff, and then isa lang sa kanya yung nagpaparelease ng stress is to use phone and playing Mobile Legends. And then pag hindi naman siya nanalo, nagko-come up siya ng more stress or nagbibigay siya ng more stress sa kanya. So diba? So iba-iba yung mga level ng mga stressors natin. Depende sa age and experiences ng isang tao. So you can reduce actually the effects of stress by being more conscious of the things that cause it. If alam mo kung ano yung nagko-cause ng stress sa'yo, and learning to handle them better, you will be able to know on how to handle them better. If you are able to recognize those stressors, you can come up with a better you can reciprocate with the better techniques in order for you to be able to feel better, to have a good mental health. And also, using relaxation techniques, yung mga breathing techniques natin whenever we feel stress, yan yung ginagawa ko. Whenever I feel so stressed, I always do this one, yung inhale, exhale, tapos, yan, everything comes to normal naman. And then, as well as lifestyle changes. We have to also to know ano yung mga techniques na pwede natin gawin in order for us to fight stresses, to do not dwell too much on daily stresses. So next is next slide. What are mental health problems? So mental health problems can affect any of a respective age, personality, or background. Again, mental health do not discriminate. Mental health problems do not discriminate. Lahat tayo pwedeng maka-experience ng ganito. They include a wide range of experiences and can affect the way people think, feel, or behave. Again, mental health is our total well-being. It affects how we think, how we feel, and how we behave. So they can appear as a result of experiences in both our personal and working lives and even in school. Or they can come out without any easily identifiable cause. Some problems may be mild or moderate, while others may take on a more severe form, affecting a person's ability to cope with day-to-day living. That's why we need to know if someone is changing. Baka that might be a factor that someone is struggling with his or her mental health. Kahit na yung mga kids natin ages 5, 10, 10 to 18, may mga daily stresses niyan sila na dinideal every single day. So kailangan natin as a parent naman, kailangan nating we need to monitor especially their moods, their daily life activities, yung mga usual na ginagawa nila. Kailangan natin yung i-monitor. Baka time will come na may magbabago, and then that might be a factor that we need to look into, and then to consider that this certain person or this child is now struggling with a certain mental health problem. So actually, experiencing a mental health problem is often upsetting. Yes, indeed, it is often upsetting, confusing, and frightening at the first phase. But if you become unwell, you may feel that it's a sign of weakness or that you are losing your mind. Pag sinabi nating unwell ka daw, parang kino-consider mo na that you are not capable of conquering something on that certain day. You tend to consider of having a loose in your mind. These fears are often reinforced by negative way that people experiencing mental health problems, which are shown in TV but in films and in media. Pinoportray nila negatively yung mga mental health problems or conditions sa what's behind the screen. So this may stop you from talking about your problems or seeking help. And this in turn is likely to increase your stress and sense of isolation. May mga, diba nakikita natin na pag once yung bata is depressed sa TV, hindi niya may tendency siya not to talk with his parents. And then nakikita yan ng mga bata natin every single day. And parang na-adapt nila yung ganong, yung ganong trait. Okay, since ganito yung nakikita ko sa TV, siguro ito din yung gawin ko. Kasi yun yung parang model nila eh. If it's good not telling a problem to a parent, then I guess it's good for me also to not tell them about mine. So however, in reality, mental health problems are common human experience. Most people know someone who has experienced a mental health problem. So they can happen again to all kinds of people from all walks of life. And it is likely that when you find a combination of self-care, treatment, and support that works for you, you will feel better. Okay, so next. Let's proceed to next slide. Okay, so next let's know about the basics or yung mga types of mental health problems natin. We have anxiety. Ayan, may tinatawag tayong anxiety, which is what we feel when we are worried, tense, or afraid. It talks about things that are about to happen. It is a response about things that are about to happen or which we think could happen in the future. Occasional anxiety is actually normal to human experiences. Ma-anxious naman tayo day-to-day, diba? And that's normal. Having fear is normal. But if your feelings of anxiety are very strong or very excessive na, and that lasts for a long time, and they are both, they are overwhelming, you might also, that anxiety is no longer good. Diba? You might also experience physical symptoms such as sleep problems and panic attacks. Yan. And the next one, we have depression naman. So ano yung depression? Depression is a feeling of low mood that lasts for a long time. Low mood meaning you feel hopeless, you feel despairing, you feel guilty, worthless, or worse, exhausted, even though wala ka namang ginagawa. It can affect actually your self-esteem, your sleep, your appetite, and your especially your physical health. Third one, we have eating problems naman. So eating problems are not just about food. They can be about difficult things and painful feelings which you may finding hard to face or resolve. May mga eating problems tayo such as anorexia, yung nakikita if may mga documentary clip kayo na nakikita in social media or any platform na mga taong na-experience na anorexia, sila yung mga taong they don't want to eat kasi nga parang nafe-feel nila pag may kakainin sila, magiging agad sila ng weight. Diba? Next is may schizophrenia tayo, which is the highest form of mental disorder. This one is considered as the highest form of mental disorder. May phobias tayo, as I said, phobias are those abnormal fears. Yung takot sa heights, yan, yung takot sa tubig, di ba? May mga phobia ganyan. Yung takot sa 13th, anong tawag dito? Friday the 13th, may ganon din. Yung takot sa longest word. I forgot the term. Yun yung, isa yun sa mga achievement ko, yung na-memorize ko yung, anong tawag nito? The longest word, fear of longest words. I forgot that, but I forgot the term. But actually, yung phobia na yung name na phobia na yung mataas din siya. So that's why siguro, I forgot. But anyway, let's proceed now. Next is, we have this obsessive compulsive disorder. So this, I know that every one of you encountered this one. This term is often misused in daily conversation. Like for example, people talk about being OC. Kasi nga, they tend to see that a certain person is neat, certain person is tidy and organized. Na tawag nila agad na, oh, OC ka man masyado, kasi organized ka, you want everything to be organized, you're so neat, ay parang ayaw mong madumihan. Tapos sinasabihan agad natin, OC siya, kasi ganun siya, or very organized siya. But the reality of this disorder or mental illness is a lot more complex and serious. That's why kailangan nating malaman kung ano ba yung mga basic concepts ng mga mental illness. Kasi ginagamit natin siya day to day, whenever we see someone organized, parang nililabel na natin as OC. OC siya kasi organized siya. Even we do self-diagnose na, baka OC ako kasi I want things to be organized. And that is actually a misuse of the term. Next is bipolar disorder. May tinatawag naman tayong bipolar. And then, ayan, this term is actually misused in day-to-day conversation also. Kasi pag sinabi nating bipolar, parang nag-change yung, nag-alter yung mood natin every single moment. Diba? Ngayon, happy siya, then later on, sad siya, then later on, umiiyak, and then we tend to label him or that person having bipolar. Diba? So actually, bipolar has two we have this manic depression, which is mainly affects our mood. With this type of disorder, you are likely to have times when you have experienced manic or hypomanic, and this one can be feeling high, yung parang sobrang energetic mo na hindi ka na maubusan ng energy. Yeah, that's one thing that can be described as bipolar. And then the other one is may tinatawag naman tayong depressive episodes, or having these low feelings, and and potentially some psychotic symptoms. So next is personality disorder. Actually, there are lots of personality disorders, and one misused term under this disorder is yung antisocial. Pag sinasabi daw nating antisocial, sila yung mga taong hindi masyadong nakikipag-interact sa tao, sila yung mga we can call them introverts. Ayan. Actually, that one is a misconception, and that actually before I learned to know na iba pala yung meaning ng antisocial, everything that I perceives about antisocial altered. Kasi nga ang real definition ng antisocial pala is sila yung mga taong actually na mahilig makipag-usap, magaling makipag-usap, and then sila yung taong most likely nasa kulungan kasi they are the ones who are having fun of they are deviant. Parang hindi sila nagpa-follow sa regulations, sa laws. Sila yung most likely na tinatawag natin, most of them naman na mga I don't know if I can put this one into words, but they are most considered as serial killers. Sila yung sobrang galing magsalita, sila yung magaling mag-deceive ng tao. That's how we describe antisocial, yung mga may antisocial disorder ng mga tao. And if yung tinatawag naman natin yung ano yung kinagisnan nating definition ng antisocial na socially withdrawn, they don't want to interact with other people, yun yung tinatawag nating asocial. It is not antisocial, but instead it is asocial. Kasi pag antisocial, sila yung most of them magaling magsalita with other person. You can be easily deceived the way they talk. Most of them nga, may mga documentaries na yung may mga antisocial personality is sila yung mga congressman, mga mayors, ayan, sila yung may mga high positions in government and someone and whatnot. So technically, antisocial term is also misused in this generation. So we have to know the basic concept of this one. Kasi pag sinabi natin socially withdrawn or introvert, it's more safe to say na introverted yung tao kaysa sabihin natin antisocial siya, di ba? And the last one is PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. This is actually a type of anxiety disorder also. So yeah, these are just the few of the many disorders. Actually, marami pa yan sila, but these are the most common mental health problems na encounter natin or nalalaman natin day to day in our day-to-day circumstance. And the next one is, let's proceed with our next slide. How can I help myself or someone else? You can help yourself if you do self-care, if you do treatment options. But before choosing treatment options, you have first to consult professional help or to seek for a professional help in order to know if ano yung proper diagnosis sa'yo. Diba? Recovery, yes, we need that one also in order for us to help ourselves. We need to have this kind of helping scheme, which is a recovery. Last is family and peer support. Ayan, isa yan sa mga nagpapa-help sa atin to sustain or to have a balance or to gain a good mental health. If you think na kailangan mong mag-seek ng family and peer support, then I know for sure naman na nandyan parati yung mga family, parents, and even our siblings to lift up. Diba? Whenever we feel so down, just, I know na one call away lang yung mga friends natin, yung family natin, yeah, relatives, and the likes. So next slide. Ayan. So, managing conversation. I just want to leave this quote kasi this one is really helpful. According daw to Carl Rogers, this kind of sensitive, active listening is exceedingly rare in our lives. We think that we listen, but rarely do we listen with real understanding through empathy. Yet listening of this very special kind is one of the most potent forces of change that I know. So, isa daw sa mga pinaka, anong tawag nito, fulfilling part of helping someone is you tend to listen. We are, di ba, we often listen in order for us to respond and not to hear. Yet just being present and focus on the person speaking is often enough to make them feel supported and heard. May mga tao na gusto lang nilang may tao na nakikinig sa kanila whenever they want to express something. Ayaw nilang, parang hindi nila gustong may sabihin ka after they are, whatever they want to express. Ayaw nila ng ganun. Kasi yung gusto lang nila is makinig ka. And then by that, you have to listen with understanding and empathy. You have to put yourself on their shoes, and that's where empathy starts. It is a simple actively listening to the person and giving them your individual and giving them your undivided attention, not listening for anything in particular or thinking about what you're going to say next. So active listening is just a mere, parang we create space for the people who want to feel heard. Diba? Listening, seeking to understand can be more powerful than offering advice. When a friend or a family member expresses difficult thoughts or feelings, give them a space. Be supportive when they share their experiences and let them know that they are valued and cared for. Sometimes kasi may mga tao na nag-express ng mga feelings nila and then nire-rebut ng nakikinig naman, and then that will lose the interest of the person to express more about their problems, about themselves. Kasi parang iniisip natin na kina-counter part din natin na ay okay lang naman yan kasi lahat naman tayo nakaka-experience ng ganyan. I know matatapos din yan. 'Di ba? Parang nakakawala siya ng motivation sa isang tao na mag-express pa more. Parang nakakawala siya ng interest kasi parang sa isip niya, you are not ready to listen wholeheartedly. You are not there to listen, but instead you tend to judge, you tend to differ his feelings, parang hindi mo vina-validate yung feelings niya. Kasi what's important for you is everyone is experiencing the same way as what you have experienced. So that's normal. Parang ganun yung concept ng mga taong, especially right now, diba, rampant yan. Whenever someone is trying to speak to you and then you rebut something statement just like, kaya mo yan, normal naman yan kasi lahat naman nakaka-experience ng ganyan. That's the thing that you need to change kasi isa yan sa mga factor na nag-lose ng interest sa taong gustong mag-express. So next slide. How might you start the conversation? Ayan. So you have to first show your support if you know someone has been unwell. So don't be afraid to ask how they are. Yan, they might want to talk about it or they might not. So at first you need to really ask how they were doing. But just letting them know that they don't have to avoid the issue with you is important. Just spending time with the person lets them know that you care and can help you understand what they're going through. Next is ask how can you help. People want to support at different times in different ways. So ask how you can help, 'di ba? Isa 'yan sa mga nagpapaboost ng interest sa kanila to openly express what they really feel. For example, if you have a friend want to get more exercise, you could do this together, diba? You can offer na we could do this one together. I want also to do some pampasingot. So that's one thing that you can offer. Next is be open-minded. This one, phrases like cheer up, I'm sure it will pass. Ito yung sinabi ko kanina, pull yourself together because everything experience the same definitely won't help. That won't definitely help. Be non-judgmental, instead listen. Ito yung sinasabi ko na we have to listen and to defer judgments. The person experiencing a mental problem often knows best what is helpful for them. So, hindi na dapat natin sinasabihan na, okay lang yan, that will pass. Cheer up ka naman dyan, kaya mo yan. Ayun, kaya mo yan. Kasi they know already themselves na, hindi ko to kaya actually. That's why sinasabi nila sa inyo, or sa iyo, na hindi nila kaya. That's, kaya nga nagsishare sila, di ba? Kasi, siguro there's a point na hindi na nila kaya. Okay? So next is don't just talk about mental health. Keep talking. Keep in mind that having a mental health problem is just one part of the person. So people don't want to be defined by their mental health problems. Instead, keep talking about the things that you always talk about. Yung may mga tao talaga na they want to talk about more, yung inubos natin yung oras about mental health problems. Instead, talk about something that is usual for the both of you, yung the usual conversation nyo, then alter that one to talk about it. Next is show trust and respect. So mental health problems can seriously damage a person's self-esteem and make them feel like they are personally and professionally worthless. So by showing your friends or your parents trust and respect in school, both in school and work, you can also help rebuild and maintain their sense of self-esteem. This will also help you to cope, as you will hopefully see your support having a positive impact in your friends or any of member of your relative or family or relatives. As I indicated in my first slide, a quote, look after yourself. This is actually important because it helps you to maintain your own mental well-being. If you become unwell, you will be less able to offer support. So that's why you need to look after yourself time to time. And lastly, you need to be patient. You might want to know more about their thoughts, their feelings, about someone who is speaking with you about their problems. You might want to immediately know ano yung iba pang feelings sa kanya, ano yung thoughts nila, ano pa yung underlying feelings, the way they tell you something bad. So you have to be patient because it is important to also set them the pace for seeking support themselves. Huwag natin silang ipipressure kung ano yung gusto nating agad malaman. Let them tell everything in a soothing way, in a normal way, in accordance to whatever they want to speak. Diba? Huwag nating ipipressure yung mga kausap natin to spill everything agad-agad. Parang nagiging chismosa na tayo dyan. So next slide. Yes, as the host said kanina, mental health is important as physical health. Mental well-being is just as important as physical well-being, and you need to maintain both in order to stay fit and healthy. Of course, kailangan naman natin mag-maintain ng balance, maintaining a balance between mental health and physical health is really important. Kasi pag hindi naman good sa mental health, maapektuhan yung physical health natin. And if physical health also is not good, maapektuhan yung mental health natin. That's why we need to balance both of them in order to be more fit and to be more healthy. So next slide, please. So how can you look after your well-being? So these are just many of the few things that you can do in order for you to look after your well-being. So what do I do for self-care? First, get plenty of sleep. And if you feel like you need to get plenty of sleep, then do so. Enjoy sunshine. Isa to sa mga sinasabi ko whenever someone asks for some help, kung ano yung makakapag-sustain sa kanilang good mood in a day. Then I just told them na just get the dose of sunlight every morning. Enjoy sunshine, enjoy sunlight. Kasi isa yan sa makakapag start ng good, anong tawag dito, makakapag build ng good mood in order for you to start a good day. Cook, pwede ka namang mag-cook kasi ang dami na ngayon nagko-cook sa bahay nila, ang dami na marunong na magluto. If yung may mga small kids naman tayo, they can anong tawag dito, they can witness how they parent cook, or pwede silang makisabay if nagluluto yung parents nila, and if that one makes you feel better, then do so. Okay, you can write or draw. Think out loud. Diba? Write everything that you felt this day. Write everything that you have experienced today para malaman mo kung ano yung mga bad thing that happened, ano yung mga good thing that happened to you within that day. That also helps. Talk to yourself. Look in front of the mirror, and then talk about everything that you want to talk about yourself. Ano yung gustong sabihin mo sa sarili mo, then do that one. The next, cuddle cats or dogs, or anyone, kung may mga pet kayo dyan, then cuddle with them or cuddle with someone, yung mahal niya, your parents, diba, your siblings, or others. Walk or bike. Ayan. Actually, ginagawa ko rin to, though I don't have any much more time to do exercises, but if I do have extra time, nagbabike ako, I guess, and that actually helps me to maintain, to have a good mental state. Tidy, if you feel like you need to, ang tawag ito, kung kailangan mo maglinis in order to alter those negative schemes that you are experiencing on that certain moment, then do that one. If that cleaning might help you to ease your problem, thinking about negative impact, yan. Isa din yan. Magpapawis ka. Yan. Read. Isa din yan. Next is read. Isa din yan sa nagpapahelp sa individual to maintain a good well-being, a mental health well-being. Read about people whose lives are more complicated. Yan. Sa mga documentaries, I have a lot of friends na in order for them to ease stress and problems, they just want to read other person's life. And indeed, it actually helped them to become better. Or gardening, yung mga plantitos and plantitas natin, you can join them to experience this one. Just approach them or to talk about plants, and that might help you to have a good mental state. Or next is get a hug, and so cuddling. Isa daw yan sa mga help sa atin to ease our stresses. And lastly, talk to select people. You don't need to tell everyone to let everyone what you are really feeling. You just need to select few of the people that you really trusted to talk about certain things, or to talk about life, talk about problems. Yeah. It's normal to have a conversation, to converse with people that you really think you can trust with. Okay? So I guess I'm on the last part of my presentation. So yes. So thank you so much for listening. So we actually have 3 presenters right now, and I'm the first one. And if you have some questions that you want me to cater, I presume that we can settle that one after the 3 presentations. Diba? So thank you so much for listening. I hope you can gain some insights and learnings on this discussion.
Wow, thank you so much, Sir Ariel, for that wonderful lecture.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity also.
So yeah, I agree that we should not be afraid to talk about our mental health issues, and I also appreciate that you talked about the different types of mental illnesses so that we can educate people on that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yes, partner, it's very important nowadays to pay attention and talk about our mental health, especially during this time of pandemic, which causes a lot of people having stress, anxiety, and distress.
So again, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir,
for your time. Yes, I do hope that everyone is in a good mental state right now. So, partner, shall we proceed?
So as we go on, I will now do the honor of introducing our second speaker of the day. He is also an alumni of JMC who graduated from the course Bachelor of Science in Psychology. He is a registered psychometrician, currently working as guidance facilitator under postgraduate studies, and also currently taking his master's degree in psychology in 𝘚𝘃𝗲𝗿 University.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our second guest speaker, Sir Jonathan Ferrer.
All right.
Good morning, Sir
Hello, thank you,
Jonathan.
host.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning, guys. Okay. So, I do hope that we are all doing well at this point in time amidst the pandemic that we are currently facing. Okay. So, yeah, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the IBED department, and at the same time the IBED guidance office for letting me or for giving me the opportunity to to discuss or to one of the speakers this morning, which is very some sort of relevant, right? Especially nowadays. The topics is actually relevant, especially nowadays, right? All right. So without any further ado, let us proceed with with my presentation. All right. Am I audible, guys? All right.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. Okay. Thank you. So my topic is all about the stress coping mechanism in a remote modality of learning among Filipino students amidst COVID-19 crisis. All right. So to simplify this one, this has something to do with um, what are the ways and means or the strategies that we can do in order for us to address the current situation, especially for the learners at this point. It's because as we all know that COVID-19 crisis had really made something or had really made an impact not just with the health of the population in general, but as well with it actually affects the learning experience of the students, because di ba alam natin na very sudden or drastic change yung modality of learning natin. It's because of that kind of pandemic, right? So with that, these things should be properly addressed given the situations. Okay, these things should be properly addressed for us to keep us from a healthy well-being individual, and at the same time for us to be healthy as a student as well. All right. So yeah, before we proceed again, before we delve further as to what are the strategies that we can do, what are the ways and means that we can do in order for us to address this kind of challenges that we are facing as a student, let me just give a presentation as an overview about the common problems or the sentiments of the students in terms of the challenges. This is actually based from a Filipino researchers. I've got this information from a Filipino researchers as well. So basically, Filipino setting ito siya, guys. Okay? Now, what are the challenges of students in a distance learning, by the way? Next slide, please. Okay, thank you. So the first one is unstable internet connectivity. Yeah, this is very talaga obvious. Yeah, kasi nga basically 'di ba? There are times talaga especially during the synchronous process or classes, I mean, 'di ba? Bigla lang mawala yung connection natin. Bigla lang mawala tayo sa group. It's because of that connection or connectivity or intermittent connectivity issues, right? So with that, especially actually naano ko to siya especially sa grad school din kasi I'm enrolling in a graduate school. Actually, minsan talaga ma-experience namin ito, guys, na bigla lang mawala yung classmate namin habang nag-speak siya, habang nag-answer siya sa mga questions coming from the professor, and then bigla mawala yung connection niya. So with that, it actually creates a distraction on our part as a student, right? It creates something parang out of focus tayo, yung motivation natin biglang mawala. So it's an alarming actually. Yeah, regardless if you are within the city or you are from the province, talagang minsan talaga may mga times talaga na biglang mawala ng yung internet connection natin. And which is and which is actually one of the most challenges or struggles na experience natin at this point, okay, as a learners. Okay. Now, next is inadequate learning resources. So basically, this has something to do with what we call this. This has something to do with yung sa gadgets. Yung gadgets natin is incapable of storing data that is needed, okay, coming from the online resources. For example, di ba, as we all know na ang mga gadgets natin is talagang may mga limited memory lang. So basically, if mafu-full na yung memory ng gadget natin because of the downloads na kinuha natin from the internet or binigay ng ating mga professor or teachers, so basically what will happen to our gadget? So it will affect the performance of our gadget as well. So magkakaroon siguro or magmalfunction siya in the sense that magiging laggy. Okay? Magiging laggy or buffer kung mag-present tayo, something like that. Okay? Now, let's proceed to the next slide, please. All right. So the next one is electric power interruptions. So yeah, as we all know, this has something to do with the brownout or the blackout, di ba? So out of nowhere, magtaka na lang tayo na biglang mag-off yung natin, yung Wi-Fi natin, di ba? Yung Wi-Fi or yung router natin, so biglang mag-off na lang. It's because of, although may battery ang ating gadgets, pero yung natin, wala man tayong rechargeable. I don't know kung may rechargeable na ba ngayon na Wi-Fi or router. So basically, what will happen, di ba? Nonetheless, if you do have a generator in your house, so you're exempted on this. Okay. Now, next one is vague learning content. Okay. So this has something to do with the struggles of the students especially as to the difficult topics, okay, that was given by the teachers. So basically, iba talaga daw yung may further explanation or deeper explanation coming from the teacher talaga daw. Given na yung chance, di ba, sa synchronous, limited lang siya. So hindi sila hindi tayo direct maka-communicate sa ating teacher if we do have some sort of clarifications regarding with the topic, okay? So, especially this is so relevant sa modular na system or modality of learning. Yeah, itong vague learning content. So, this is one of the struggles talaga or challenges, okay, as to the online platform. Right. Now, let's proceed with the next slide, please. All right. So the next one is overloaded lesson activities coming from or provided by the teachers. So isa yan siya sa mga ginaano talaga ng mga students. Yeah. Overloaded lesson activities provided by the teachers. All right. Now, the next one is limited teacher scaffolds. So this has something to do with in relation to yung sa vague content of learning. Like, for example, lack of constant communication or lack of constant or lesser communication, okay, with teachers compared daw sa face-to-face na setup or context. Okay? So, hindi nila agad ma-communicate or ma-contact yung teacher nila. It's because maybe walang signal or something like that. Okay? Now, next slide, please. All right. So, the next one is poor peer communication. So, this has something to do with especially for the freshmen and transferees na students, right? So, kumbaga, this has something to do with the lack of constant communication, okay? Lack of constant communication with your classmates, with our classmates as well. That leads to, kumbaga, lack of familiarity, right? Lack of familiarity or establishing or building friendships and closeness towards our classmates. Okay? So, ganon. So the next one is conflict with home responsibilities. So this has something to do with, kumbaga, nade-divide yung attention ng students between the household chores and of course, the school-related tasks. So with that, we are unable to balance at all. Okay? Kasi iba man talaga kung nasa school ka kasi mas makafocus ka sa role mo. Pero pag nasa bahay ka kasi, even if may sarili kang rooms, but somehow, there are a lot of factors na pwede talaga ikaw ma-distract. Okay? So, that is actually one of the problems or struggles na gina-face ng mga students at this time in the online platform. Okay? So, that would lead to, kumbaga, this conflict with home responsibilities would lead to, kumbaga, out of focus or lack of motivation due to your confusion or priorities. That's the point. All right. Now let's proceed with the next slide, please. Okay. Now, the poor learning environment. Okay. The poor learning environment, actually talagang, yes, true talaga ito siya. Okay. So this has something to do with the inevitable or unavoidable or circumstances or situations, especially sa ating mga bahay or pamamahay. Okay? So, like for example, yung mga noises, right? Noises either outside or inside the house. So, like for example, yung mga bark of dogs, something like that. Yung mga busina from the car or sasakyan. And even if, di ba, may mga nagalinis sa labas ng bahay, those are actually, or even yung boses ni mama or ni papa or even the siblings I mean, if you do have, di ba? And especially pag especially pag magkaroon tayo ng ang tawag ito, emergency, right? Na hindi natin alam kung ano, basta yung mga ganun na mga instances, actually, especially pag mag-exam ka, tapos biglang may mga ganun na mga instances, so what will happen, di ba? Made-distract ka, in short. So mawala yung focus mo, mawala yung attention mo. Alright? So next is financial related problems. So this has something to do with, anong tawag ito? This has something to do with yung mga self-supporting student, right? Especially yung mga self-supporting student. So, di ba, they are not able to okay, yun, example na yun siya ng poor learning environment, di ba? May biglang unavoidable noise. Okay, now, let's proceed with the financial related problems. Okay, so, this has something to do with, as I said earlier, this has something to do with yung mga working student or self-supporting students. So they are not able to land a job this time. It's because of or in consideration with the situation, the current situation that we are facing at this point, right? So aside from that is may mga parents or the one na kung sino yung nagpapaaral sa inyo, somehow biglang nawala ng trabaho. So what will happen? So of course, medyo financially challenged tayo at this point, especially pag ganun na mga situation. Biglang mawala ng trabaho si mama, either si mama or si papa or both, or yung siblings natin na kung sino yung nagpapaaral sa atin, something like that. Right? So aside from that is yung data usage, right? So 'di ba kahit na may mga promo na ngayon, 'di ba? May mga yung 1 week. So yung 1 week na yon, basically baka maubos lang nila yung 7 days na yon basically or 8 days. Basically mauubos yun siya within within 3 days. It's because of yung excessive na or marami or consecutives na mga synchronous classes, something like that. Tapos aside from that is yung mag-download ng mga files, okay, for your online learning, something like that. So basically, ang 99 mo ma-times 2 siya in a week or even times 3 perhaps. Okay? So next slide please. Okay. So compromised physical health, okay? So this has something to do with the radiation guys. So mas nasa-sacrifice ang ating health kasi nga, 'di ba? Using this platform, we are actually very exposed perhaps kasi anything na natin sa online learning, of course, kailangan laptops or gadgets, okay? So with that, we know that along the way, kung talagang too much exposure talaga, there is actually a negative implications. Diba? Pag too much exposure tayo sa mga gadgets, okay? So, we know that, right? Okay, now let's proceed with the mental health struggles. So this is actually basically about yung um, yung lack of motivation of the students or focus due to these challenges. So what will happen? So magkakaroon ng confusion at perhaps at the end of the day, hindi siya ma-address properly. So magkakaroon ng confusions if to pursue or not to pursue ba this time, given the chance or given the current situations. So those are the factors, okay, that these challenges are actually part of the mental health that should be addressed talaga. Mental health condition of the students that should be, or the learners that should be addressed, properly addressed, para makip pa rin tayo in a healthy and a well-being and individual and as a student as well. All right, so yan lahat yung kumbaga common problems or sentiments, okay? Sentiments ng mga students regarding with the challenges or the struggles na kanilang na-experience or na-encounter while having this kind of platform or modality, the online platform. All right, so let's proceed with the next slide, please. All right, so yeah. Okay, so this is actually our main topic, the strategies in coping the challenges in the distance learning, okay? So in other words, these are the ways, okay? These are the ways or strategies in dealing with these struggles or challenges that we are facing at, okay, as a learners in this at this point in time. So the first one is, next slide please. Okay, approach the teacher. So when we talk about approach the teacher, you as a student, okay, so of course you need to have a constant communication talaga. You need to have a constant communication with your teacher or with our teacher, like like giving updates from time to time, like like giving updates from time to time through texting or calling her or him or your teacher, calling him or her or your teacher para magbigay ka ng update na, sir or ma'am, hindi po ako or teach, hindi po ako join ngayon or join ngayon or makapag-submit earlier or on time. It's because may problem ako sa connectivity sa pag-send. Okay? So, pwede niyo siyang tawagan. For example, kung wala talaga kang connection, of course, tawagan niyo na lang yung teacher niyo, and then at the same time tawagan or i-text. Okay? Now, the next one is practicing time management. Okay? How do you manage your time? Or how could you be able to do that? By the way, in terms of practicing your time management. Okay, so one good example that I can provide this time is you need to, in terms of developing your time management, is you need to provide or something, you need to prepare, kumbaga, yung checklist. I know aware kayo kung ano yung checklist, right? So checklist as to your dose, or what are the things that you need to do to accomplish within that day or within that week. So you need to provide checklist on those things, right? So that you will have kumbaga, the guide, okay, and you can also monitor. Okay, you can also monitor as to your tasks that you had accomplished or needed to be accomplished within that week or within that day. So yun, create kayo ng checklist, okay, para ma-monitor nyo, and will serve as your guide. And aside from that, actually there are a lot of kumbaga, ways and means, pero ang pinaka-basic talaga, guys, is yung checklist. Ang pinaka-basic, ang pinaka-madaling gawin para ma-divide mo properly ang iyong time. Alright? So, yes, parang nawala yung presentation ko. Hello? Okay. Okay, so we're done with the practicing time. Okay. Well, it's okay. It's part of the limitations talaga pag ganitong di ba, biglang mawala. Okay, it's part of the experience or learning experience. Okay? Now, so we're done with the practicing time management. So let's do the next slide, please. seeking support from peers. So how are you able to seek support from your peers? You need to have what? Constant communication, okay, to your classmates, through text or chat, especially when it comes to group activities or group works, right? So that's it. Now, the next one is diverting attention. Actually related to doon sa binigay ni Sir Ariel, okay? Diverting attention by means of, kumbaga, in order for us to refrain from feeling of being bored, especially most of you here are actually I guess grade 4 to 12 tayo dito, di ba? So yung mga, especially yung mga underage or yung mga 10 below, I guess, you are not allowed talaga to go outside at this point. It's because of the pandemic or the crisis. So for you to be able to refrain or to avoid yourself from feeling of being bored, so you can actually divert your attention, okay? Especially during your leisure time. So you can actually do things that fits your interest, okay? That fits your interest by like playing or something, mag-foster kayo or mag-take care kayo ng pets such as dogs, a puppy or cat or something, fish. Actually ako may pet ako. Anyway, aside from that is kung gusto mo mag-plant ng planting or plants. And then yung gaya ng sinabi ni Sir Ariel, yung yung sinabi niya, yung cooking. Yeah. Cooking and exercise at the same time. Okay? So you need to divert that for you. You need to divert your attention kasi alam ko talagang even me. Actually, I admit na talagang I felt or I feel some sort of talagang bored at this point kasi dito na lang always sa bahay most of the time. Anyway, to refrain from all those things, you need to divert your attention para ma-sustain mo yung feeling of yung hindi ka bored. Okay? Now, okay, next slide please. We're almost done with the presentation. Okay. Now, regulating the self. Now, this is one of the strategies that okay, very effective. Like for example, how are you going to, or how we do the regulate, how can we regulate ourselves? This has something to do with this has something to do with you are setting rules. You are setting rules for yourself. Okay? Like for example, hindi ako pwedeng makapaglaro ng ML or Mobile Legends or ano bang pwede mong gawin pag hindi ko siya matapos or pag hindi ko matatapos yung mga task or assignments ko. Okay? Pwede ako makapaglaro if pag matapos ko lahat ng mga task ko related sa school. Ganun. It's one way of kumbaga setting standards or setting rules for yourself para ma-motivate ka rin na gawin mo yung isang bagay. It's one way of regulating yourself. Okay? Regulating the self. All right? So, and lastly is pray. Okay? So as we all know that this has something to do with having a constant communication with our Creator, right? Because as we all know that our Creator is actually the most powerful, He is a powerful God. Okay, yun. And then I know that through praying, it is actually one way of releasing our tension kasi there are times talaga tensions or burdens. Okay? Kasi there are times talaga in our life na it's one way of confession, right? Praying is one way of confession, okay? To release our tensions, okay? To appraise ourselves despite of the situations, okay? Hardships or something like that. It's one way of releasing our tensions, okay? Or our burdens that we had. So through praying, through our confession to Him, parang ma-release siya, di ba? At least, di ba, ma-alleviate siya. Kasi there are times in our life talaga na even in our loved ones, in our family, may mga times na hindi natin pwedeng isabi sa kanila. Okay? Hindi natin pwedeng isabi sa kanila kung ano yung mga nafe-feel natin. Kasi siguro at some point, parang hindi ka rin ganyan ka-confident. May mga times talaga na ganun. Okay, so one way to do that, to release your tension, to release that burdens, okay, to release that kind of struggle, you only need to do is to pray. After that, pag ma-share mo na sa kanya, of course, gagaan yung feeling natin. Yeah. Anyway, alright, so next slide please. Okay. Okay, so yeah, that would be all for my presentation this morning. Let's have a further discussion, okay, as we go, or conversation as we go on with the Q&A or the open forum right after Ma'am Loy or the next speaker present her topic. All right. Thank you, guys. I hope you have learned something for this short presentation.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Sir Jonathan. That was a very informative talk about mental health related to the use of this new mode of learning, which is the online class, and also discussing the strategies on how to deal with those technical, environmental, and financial difficulties, which is very helpful for the students to become aware and will be prevented.
Yes, sir. I do agree with what you said, that it is indeed a struggle to have a smooth learning experience, especially in the online setting, due to the different variables that you said earlier. So, as a student myself, I definitely agree that it does cause me some stress. But, as we all know, that we must keep moving forward even though that we are struggling. Let
Yeah.
us not
Indeed.
let us not uh let us not let us not keep this pandemic from hindering us with our learning.
Yes.
Kumbaga, let's think na lang siguro na there's always, di ba, may lyrics na there's always a rainbow after the storm ba yun? After the
Yes
rain, I
po.
mean.
Yes, sir.
See
Tama
the
ba?
silver lining na lang talaga. At
Okay.
least we have technology.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, guys. Okay. See you around for the Q&A and open forum.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So now, to continue our program, we will now introduce our third speaker. Partner, please do the honor.
Yes, I will now introduce the third speaker. So our third and final speaker is a graduate of Bachelor of Elementary Education, major in Science in Health in the University of Southeastern Philippines. She is also a graduate of Master in Counseling in the University of the Immaculate Conception. And now she is currently working as the head of the Office of the Guidance Center and as a part-time instructor here in 𝘠𝘭𝘆 College. So, without any further ado, let us give a warm welcome to Ma'am Eloisa Estrera.
Good morning, everyone. Thank
Good
you so
morning,
much
ma'am.
for this opportunity. So I will not be taking too much time so that we could finish it right away. So let's start. Okay. So our speakers already told us a lot of things with regards to our mental health and how we are going to cope up with it. Okay, so this time I will be sharing to you some art activities to help you at home since we are all staying at home. Okay, so next. Uh, So let's start first with what COVID-19 has brought to us. Okay, so with the current lockdown that we have, with the pandemic that we have, it brought us a lot of sense of fear and anxiety. So hindi lang tayo yung naka-feel ng fear and tsaka anxiety, but all children, all teenagers, all adults around the globe. So with that, uh, it has led us to a short-term or a long-term psychosocial and mental problems or implications, especially to our children and our adolescents. So that is you, our children, okay, our students in the IBED. It also the quality of the impact to us with the COVID-19 are the following. So we have here our developmental age, okay? So yung exposure natin, 'di ba, medyo hindi natin na feel or na experience because we stayed at home, our educational status from face to face. Ngayon we're having the online, and we also have both the asynchronous and the synchronous type of learning. We also have here our pre-existing mental health condition. Okay, so dati meron na tayong mga problema with our mental health, and then nadagdagan pa tayo because of the pandemic. Next, we have here being economically underprivileged. Some of our parents lost their jobs, or yung mga relatives natin nawalan ng trabaho or nag-close yung mga company. So it brought us some changes with regards to our economic status in the family. And the last one, or last two ones, is being quarantined due to the infection, or may mga relatives tayo na natamaan ng COVID-19 virus. So we have this kind of fear or anxiety na baka mahawaan din tayo if ever we will meet them, okay, or we'll go to their house. And the last one is we also have this fear of infection. Okay, so takot tayo baka mahawaan tayo, or paglabas natin baka yung kalaro natin or kausap natin may dala-dala palang virus. Kasi hindi natin siya nakikita, 'di ba? We are in a war that we cannot see our enemy. Okay? So when we have from the start of the pandemic, we always hear the following words. Okay, next. Ito yung parang pinaka-known sa atin lahat na word, stay at home. Okay? So that's the number one announcement or news that we hear from our government and even sa mga news natin. Okay? Number two, wash our hands with soap and water. And then number three is always wear our face mask or face shields when we go out, especially our adult partners or yung mga parents natin, 'di ba? So paglalabas tayo or lalabas kami, meron kami talagang sinusuot na face mask or face shields. And then number four, we have to have a limit of 1 to 2 meters social distancing. So hindi na pwede ngayon ang mga warm hugs. Okay? So yung kailangan natin is 1 to 2 meters apart. So hanggang na lang tayo, nodding or hi, okay, ganun sa ating mga friends or sa ating mga relatives and even to our teachers. Or ngayon, uso na ang virtual hugs, yan. Okay, and number 5, and definitely not the least, is let's have ourselves vaccinated. So sa ngayon, yung mga 18 years old and above, yung mga may vaccine, okay? So they are also starting now with children aged 12 to 17 or 18 years old for the vaccination. So hopefully, this pandemic will end and everybody will be back to normal. So with all these things happening around us, what we always fear is losing our loved ones and not seeing them by our side. So yun ang pinaka natin, 'di ba? So thus we from the Office of the Guidance Center, we're here to teach you some activities that you can do at home with regards to your feelings, or how are you going to express your feelings. Kasi nasa bahay lang tayo, di ba? So, what is important is our mental health. We need to treasure it. Yan. So, number 1 here is we have to make, number 1 art activity is postcard activity. Okay? So, are you familiar with this? Parang gumagawa lang kayo ng letter. Okay? So, most children or teenagers or adolescents will probably agree that it's easier to express or recognize hurts and regrets when there's a distance between yourself and the problem. Okay? So next slide, please. So with the postcard activity, it is a good self-discovery exercise. Okay, and then you have this kind of question: what would I want to say to someone if I didn't have to do it face-to-face? Kasi hindi tayo face-to-face, di ba? So kung nasaktan kayo ng isang kaibigan or ng isang classmate, you can always do this one. Okay, you create a postcard. So what are the things that you need to do? Okay, or materials that you need to do? Kasi yung postcard activity din, parang din siyang parang releasing din ng tension that we have inside our hearts, okay, or even our minds. So these are the materials that you're going to use. You have a bond paper, you can also have the colored or the plain. Okay, you have a pair of scissors kasi magugunting kayo. So sa mga grades 4 natin, kung takot pa kayo sa scissors, you just ask an adult or your parents or somebody na matanda na sa inyo to cut, okay, in your behalf, okay? So your coloring material, so you have there the examples and other materials na gusto nyo pang gamitin aside sa na-share ko ngayon. Okay? So what are you going to do? Okay, you can print out a postcard kung may makita kayong design sa internet, or you can have your own style, okay? Mas maganda kasi lumalabas yung creativity natin, 'di ba? Once we have these kinds of emotions, lumalabas yung pagiging creative natin. And then, one side will be completely blank and the other side will have some lines or drawings, konting drawings, kasi doon kayo magsusulat nung nyo, yung message ninyo sa person. Okay, so the other side will be a blank one kasi doon kayo mag-drawing. Okay? So, next one is you reflect on the situation. Next slide. Okay. So, you reflect on the situation. Okay? So, kung ano yung naramdaman nyo, yung feelings niyo, are you frustrated or angry or upset or sad, or even kung happy kayo kasi na-meet nyo sila kahit virtual lang, pwede naman din siyang gamitin, okay? As long as you are expressing your emotions, you're expressing your feelings, kasi yun naman talaga ang important sa mental health natin. Okay? So, on the next one is spend time simply by thinking or reflecting about the feelings. Okay? And after that, you start writing down your emotions, writing down the words that you wanted to tell the person. Okay? So in that way, kahit hindi mo naman siya nakita in person, meron kayong sinusulat para sa kanila. Kahit hindi nyo naman ma-send sa kanila, at least you were able to express it, okay, to the person. Nalabas nyo din yung feelings niyo. Okay? So, next one is, yan. So, draw or create a visual presentation of how you feel. So, mag-drawing kayo. Ilabas niyo yung creativity niyo. Ilabas niyo yung mga gusto nyong i-draw doon. Kasi in that way, you can also express the feelings that you have inside your heart or inside your mind. Okay? And next one is, so, this is your total freedom, okay? So it's a way of kumbaga expressing yourself kasi meron kayong mga materials, meron kayong emotions or feelings na naramdaman. So with that, nalalabas nyo talaga siya. And okay. And then, again, yung sinabi ko nga kanina, isulat nyo doon sa likod yung ninyo. So use what you draw and write to explore your emotions further and think how you might begin to work towards a healing process. So, during your healing process, you can talk to your, kasi kung mabigat talaga siya, yung overwhelming, yung happiness, yung sadness, or yung frustrations niyo, you can do the healing process through talking to your parents. Yan. Next, please. To your parents, to your teachers, yan, to your guidance facilitator or guidance counselor, and then to your friends also. Kumbaga sa right med nga sinasabi ni Miss Susan Roses, huwag maghiyang magtanong, huwag mahiyang mag-ask ng help, kasi it's really okay not to be okay, and then it's really okay then or good to express your feelings, to express your emotions para hindi naman siya mag-stay doon sa loob natin. Okay? So, a reminder for everybody. So, always remember, next slide, please. Your postcards are meant to express your feelings, okay? Because of a certain situation, such as we have experienced now, the COVID-19, or yung separation ng distance natin with our friends, yan. So, from a person, thing, or event. So, kung hindi natin malabas sa sarili natin yung feelings natin na meron tayo, it's very good to have these art activities. Okay, so that's just number one. I have prepared here four, but there are a lot of art activities that we can do at home in time of this pandemic. So the next one is color your feelings. Okay, so kulayan natin yung mga nararamdaman natin. Wag lang yung puro red lang lahat or puro black lang lahat. So I just shown here an example of a shape, yan, on how to color your feelings. So next, okay. So color your feelings help to express your emotions or define the things that you care about. So pwede niyong kulayan, pwede niyong sulatan kung sino yung mga important people in your life. So pwedeng si ate, si kuya, si mommy, si daddy, si lolo, si lola, si teachers, yung best friend niyo, yan. Okay, yung mga close playmates ninyo sa bahay or sa ano ninyo. And then it's a very quick and easy exercise that you can do at home because it helps you to be creative and have your visual representations on the things that important sa buhay nyo or yung value nyo sa life. Okay? So what are the things that you need for the activity? Okay? So again, you have there your printed sheets about feelings or you can draw your own feelings, yung happiness, sadness, yan. If you're familiar with the movie na Inside Out, so those are some examples of the feelings that we always felt every day. Okay, the happiness, the sadness, the envy, yan, yun, frustrations, yun siya. Okay, the angry, yun. So you have there the glitters, the sequins, and the glue. If you want it na mas creative pa kayo, yan. You also have their coloring materials and other materials na gusto nyo pang gamitin aside sa mga nasuggest ko dito. Okay? So, what are the process or the things that you're going to do when you color your feelings? So, yan, again, andito na naman yung mga moments natin. So, you have to take a moment to reflect on the things that, okay, number one, make your heart happy. So, what makes my heart happy? Okay, so for me, my heart is happy because I have my Tres Marias. Okay, so I have my three girls who are always with me every day since the start of the pandemic. Okay, number two, what things make you feel, or what things that make that you feel good? Okay, so ano yung mga things na okay sa akin, magaling sa akin, ganon. Next one, what are the images or colors that you will use to describe these things? Okay, so kung happy ako, anong kulay na ilalagay ko? Yellow ba? Green ba? Pink? Yan. Okay? So, the next one is, what images and colors that comes to your mind when you think about these things? Yan siya. So, ano yung mga pwede nating gamitin, okay, na words or colors about these feelings? Okay, so kung angry tayo, anong isusulat natin? Angry ba na word or galit ako? Ganun. Or kung happy tayo, anong isusulat natin na word? Happy, life, family, ganun. Okay. Next one is, yan. You draw your heart or any object that represents you and fill it with what you have been thinking for the past days. Okay? So kung naiisip nyo na malungkot kayo for the past days, ano yung gusto nyong isusulat doon or i-draw doon sa heart or sa any object that represents you? Okay? And the next one is, okay, so yun. Next one is, Words to live by collage. Okay, so pwede ito sa mga sa mga grade 7 to grade 12. Okay, lalo-lalo na sa mga girls or even sa mga elementary if payagan kayo na mag-cut ng mga words sa mga magazines, newspapers or sa mga old books, pwede siya. Okay? So, what is this all about? Okay? So, words to live by collage help you to visualize your core values through your creative collage. So, alam niyo naman siguro anong ibig sabihin ng collage, 'di ba? So, when I was in elementary, one of my classmates told us na ang meaning ng collage is yung gupit-gupit, dikit-dikit, yun. So, gupit-gupit kayo ng words or ng pictures and then idikit-dikit niyo, and then sabi pa nga niya, paste daw sa something na makapal or a paper para mas makita nyo yung buong kahulugan ng collage. Okay? Next one is create coping strategies that you can come back over to time and let you know that your ideas or feelings and values will change with your experiences. So, isipin nyo again kung ano yung mga nangyari before, ano yung mga situations before that make you feel that make you feel sad, ganun, or happy or frustrated. And then you will need this materials, old magazines, newspapers, pictures, yan, books or scrap paper. So, andyan yung markers, andyan yung scissors, yung glue, kasi nga magugupit kayo and magdidikit-dikit ng mga words or pictures. A cardboard or a thick paper for the base of your collage and other materials na gusto nyo pang gamitin. Okay, so what are you going to do? Okay, again, andito na naman tayo. Mag-reflect na naman tayo sa sarili natin. Okay, we have to reflect ano yung mga feelings natin sa loob, ano yung mga nararamdaman natin. So for young teens or yung mga preteens or yung mga adolescents natin, you may want to express your values by having or asking yourself what are those things or ano yung mga things na sa atin, nagpapabigat ng nararamdaman natin or ano yung mga behaviors natin or paano ba nag-behave yung mga tao or mga kasing edad natin. Okay? So, next one is, yan, my question. What do you feel good about when I practice certain behaviors or see others behave? Okay. Number 2, once you have a good idea of your values, take a mindful minute. So, close your eyes, think about the things that happened to your life, ganun, and express those things into words and ask these questions to yourself. What are these words? Okay, ano yung mga words na makapag-express or makapag-describe ng aking nararamdaman? Okay? Next one is, what are the related images or colors or shapes na connected dito sa mga words na ito? Okay, it can be a heart, it can be a parang a circle, a square, a rectangle, ganun. And then, next one is, okay. Once you feel ready, you begin selecting your images and words or phrases or colors from the magazines or newspapers. You cut it down and then make your own shape, make your own design, and then after that, you paste it on the cardboard. Okay? And you can also make it as a parang frame doon sa kwarto nyo or sa ninyo, sa sala, yan, sa living room. Okay, next one is, okay, so use these materials to compile a collage that you feel will reflect your words to live by. So every day, tignan nyo yung ginawa ninyo, and then with that, it will remind you of the things that happened to you for the past days or the past months. Okay? Then, this can be an image based an image or an abstract. Depende sa ating creativity. Okay? So, next one is, Yeah, number 4 is ito, create a song about your feelings. Okay? So when this is all about, next one please. Okay. So music is used worldwide to promote positive mental health. Okay? So, ang dami nating singers, ang nating songs na ano parang naririnig, 'di ba? Na express sa mga feelings natin. So, another one is it enhances the process of requiring time-ordered and ability-ordered behavior, and that it suggests an effective response and increase our sensory input. Okay? So, syempre, sa music, di ba, music can hear your soul, di ba? Meron yung mga songs na ganyan. So, next one is it provides self-organization and opportunity for socialization. Kasi we have a common denominator, so we're able to socialize ourselves. So good thing nga, 'di ba, during your online intramurals, so we're able to sing, dance with the tune of the different songs or genre, 'di ba, para ma-express niyo yung sarili ninyo. Okay? So aside sa parang na-enjoy niyo siya, nagiging output niyo din siya. Okay? Sa mga feelings ninyo or sa mga ginagawa ninyo sa buhay niyo everyday. Next one is yan. So how are you going, or what are the things that you need? Okay, so any musical instruments, or you can do the a cappella. You have the pencils and the paper. Syempre, magsusulat kayo ng songs ninyo about your feelings. And a quiet or conducive place to stay. So something or an area sa house ninyo na pwede kayo magstay para doon kayo magsulat ng or mag-compose ng song ninyo. And other materials that you want to use. Okay, so such as your cellphone para maka-video kayo, or a ring light para medyo may ilaw, 'di ba? Okay. Next one is okay. So in a quiet place in your house or room, think of the feelings you felt or experienced for the past days. So isipin nyo naman, kasi pag feelings yung pinag-uusapan, nag-iisip talaga tayo or ninanamnam natin sa sarili natin, sa heart natin kung ano yung mga things na nakabother sa atin, yan, naka-frustrate, nakasad sa atin, naging happy tayo, ganun. Okay, naging excited tayo. Okay, next one is think of words that will describe your feelings. Okay, so list it down and compose your song. So kanina nasabi ni Sir Jonathan na magsulat kayo doon sa parang listahan ninyo kung ano yung gagawin. Okay, so same with composing the song. You write all the things or words na gusto nyong isulat sa song ninyo. Okay, and then put those one into sentences or phrases to make your song. Okay, next one is using your musical instrument, create a rhythm or tune to blend with your song. So pwede din kayong gumamit ng mga ibang songs na may tugtog na, and then ilagay niyo na lang yung mga words ninyo. Or use different genre to express yourself. So we have pop, jazz, new rock, 'di ba? We have the love song. So ang daming genre pag music ang pag-uusapan natin, okay? So, next one is share your song to your friends and family. Kasi naka-virtual world tayo, di ba? So, pwede nating i-share. Pwede tayong mag-live sa Facebook or sa YouTube or sa TikTok, di ba? So, nasa-share natin, mas lalong na-express natin yung sarili natin. Okay? Nalalabas natin yung mga nararamdaman natin because of what we are doing. Okay? Next one is, now I think this is a number 5. There are other lot of art activities to express your feelings. So, isa dito sa nilagay ko is, we have there the drama. Okay? So, kahit online tayo, pwede naman tayo makakreate ng drama, di ba? Pwede naman tayo magkaroon ng theme sa drama natin kahit nag-uusap tayo with our friends. Okay? Or pwede din siyang maging performance task ng mga teachers natin, especially sa ESP, sa Filipino, sa English, di ba? So, another one is sa communication arts, di ba, for senior high school. Next one is, play. Okay? So sabi nga natin, we have an old saying na we are not too old or too young to play. So always remember that na kahit matanda na tayo or kahit bata pa tayo, we have all the time to play. You have time to play with your parents. So sa mga parents natin dyan, pwede din kayo makipaglaro sa mga anak nyo. It's a way of bonding between them na kahit nasa bahay tayo or kahit pandemic, may oras din tayo sa kanila. Okay? Play also stresses or encourages us to be with a good relationship with our parents, with our family, okay, and even with our siblings. Okay? The other one is humor. Okay? So sabi nga nila, laughter is the best medicine. Okay? So wag naman tayo puro drama, puro iyakan, puro sigawan. Yan. So let's also have the time to laugh out our problems, to laugh out our activities na hindi natin kaya gawin ngayon kasi hindi natin alam yung mga nararamdaman natin. Okay? And the last one here is, and definitely not the least, is dancing. So, dancing, 'di ba? Before nga nag-start ang school year natin, meron tayong dance contest sa JMC, 'di ba? Yung isayaw natin yung enroll now at JMC. So, nagiging siya sa atin parang last song syndrome. KLSS kasi yun ang naririnig natin, and we saw a lot of students dancing with the tune of enroll now at JMC. So wag naman nating walain yung spirit natin of dancing because it's also one way of releasing the tensions that we have. Dance our feelings out, kumbaga. Okay? So, and last one, ito yung iiwan ko sa inyong lahat. Art does not only mean making drawings. Okay? Hindi lang siya puro drawings. Okay? Hindi lang siya puro yung mga pinapagawa sa atin na na mga tao, mga plants, mga different things na sa classroom natin. But you can also use music, humor, literature, yung magsusulat tayo, gawa tayo ng letter, ganun. Dancing or play to express your feelings. Kasi ang importante sa atin ngayon is healthy yung mindset natin. We are not just healthy physically, spiritually, emotionally, but we're also healthy in our mental, okay, sa pag-iisip natin kasi lahat ng ginagawa natin nagsa-start siya sa iniisip natin. Okay? And with that, I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you have learned a lot from Teacher Loy. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Excuse me. Thank you so much, Ma'am Estrella, for reminding us about the importance of keeping ourselves safe during this pandemic. And it is important to be vigilant and not forget how important these things are. Also, thank you for suggesting activities to do during this pandemic in order to still be productive, and at the same time we can also explore our creativity and our emotions even more. So thank you so much for that, Ma'am. So hello, partner, are you still there?
Yes, partner.
So all of the speakers in this webinar has delivered us with very informative takes on mental health. Would you agree, partner?
Yes, of course, I do. We are indeed blessed that they gave us the time to deliver this information that will benefit us greatly.
So at this point in time, we are approaching the open forum section of our program. So if you have any questions, please leave it in the comment section. So partner, would you like to introduce the facilitator of the open forum this morning?
Okay, for the students, if you have any questions or query regarding all the topics discussed this morning, then now is the chance to do so. Just leave your questions in the comment section. We will now give the floor to Sir 𝘩𝘪𝘵𝗵𝘂𝗲.
Hi, good morning. Am I
Morning
audible?
po.
Morning, sir.
I'm audible.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you, Jadel and Harry. So, before I start the open forum, first I would like to thank Sir Lord Vincent Van Mendoza and Miss Marian Ambrosio for their assistance to make this mental webinar possible. And then, I know that most of the students have a lot of questions with regards to the topics of our speakers. Students, if you have any questions, you can write it in the comment section below through our FB page and YouTube channel of 𝘠𝘕 College. So our speakers can answer their questions. So without further ado, let's start the open forum. So may I see the speakers of this webinar? Hi speakers, good morning.
Good
Hello, good
morning.
morning.
So are you ready for the question and answer portion?
Pang Miss Universe ba?
So shall we?
We shall.
We
We
shall.
shall.
Okay, so here's the first question from 𝘠𝘃𝗲𝗿. What is your advice for children who are suffering from mental illnesses? So let's start with Sir Ariel.
Okay, since I have discussed everything about a lot about mental illnesses now, I guess one thing we need to know and to remember is the signs that can be possibly manifested on the in the child, especially yung mga na-mention ko kanina na mga signs. It can be one of the noticeable signs na pwede nating makuha sa bata na nagsasuffer ng certain mental illness. And best to do is, of course, if you know how to handle the kids, then may mga may mga binigay naman tayo kaninang mga self-care treatments, or yung mga you know how to manage kids with having trouble with their mental health. You can monitor their health, either mental health, or for worst case scenarios, you can seek professional help in order for you to get a better treatment plan for your kids whenever the case get worse. So technically, the best advice I can, hindi naman siya technical advice, but siguro let's just monitor the kids' mental health. Kasi isa sila sa mga mga vulnerable na mga individual na hindi masyado alam kung ano yung mga signs. They are not aware of the signs, though they are having it, pero hindi sila aware. So technically, yung mga parents na nag-oversee sa kanila, they are the ones who can tell whether or not the children experiencing such mental illnesses.
Okay.
So I guess the other speakers can add more to that question.
Okay, for me, paano natin, hindi naman siya advice, but I can suggest you, lalo na sa mga parents, have a one-on-one talk with your children or to your son, to your daughter, kung ano yung mga nararamdaman nila for the past days. Okay? Kasi it's very important to talk to them. Kasi it's also a way of understanding them. Okay? So, if ever naman na hindi natin makausap ng maayos yung mga anak natin, kasi yung iba sa kanila secretive na, 'di ba? Or yung mga bata hindi na nagsasabi kasi nga maraming nakikita, nababasa sa social media. So, you can ask naman po the teachers or the advisors of your children, or pwedeng kausapin ng advisor or ng teacher na close sa kanya, kung ano yung mga lately na mga naiisip nila, ganun. Or you can refer naman your children to your guidance counselor or to your guidance facilitator, kasi in that way also the facilitators or the counselors can talk to these children or to your sons or to your daughters about the things that bothers them lately. Okay? So yung iba kasi kahit maaga yung mga nila or bago lang yung mga naiisip nila, meron pa din yung mga parang from the past Okay? Kasi mahilig tayo sa ano mahilig tayo sa past. Mahilig tayo magbalik sa past, gano'n. Okay? So, we could also do that one. So, eventually, if this things is not working well, and then mas nag-worst pa siya sa mga naramdaman natin. So we could ask the help of our specialists such as psychologists, psychiatrists, or yung mga developmental pediatrician siguro pwede, or psychologists. Mas makakatulong sila to really understand more these children. Okay?
All right. So on my end or on my part, okay. So yeah. Actually nasabi naman ni Sir Ariel at ni Ma'am Loy kung ano yung ano. So to add na lang siguro siguro as what Sir Ariel said na you need to observe you need to confirm the signs ba. You need to confirm the signs, then after that pag ano na yung signs kung may talagang may something sa kanya, then you need to seek help from a from a professionals related to that concern. And then pero it's a case to case basis, okay? Kasi pag once ang student nag-aaral siya or nasa school siya, then you can actually hindi ka pwedeng doon ka lang muna sa guidance facilitator or sa guidance counselor or sa teacher, okay? Para yung teacher ang mag-forward doon sa guidance facilitator or guidance counselor, and then kung hindi na siya ma-manage, of course, i-refer na siya doon sa psychologist, and then at the same time psychiatrist if ever kung ganun ka ang level. And then kung hindi siya nag-aaral, then basically direct ka doon sa psychologist or child psychology. Yun siya. Para siya na lang ang mag-assess or mag-evaluate further kung talagang meron talaga siyang something concern about his mental illness, something like that.
Okay, so to all the viewers out there, so sabi ni Susan Roses, huwag mahiyang magtanong. Okay? Yes. So let's have another question. So coming from Miss Mia Donna Behati Andoy. So her question is, how do you handle when you are having panic attacks and when you're stressed out?
Okay, siguro what I can actually suggest is to take a break first. Kasi whenever we feel panic, everything seems to be unreal na, everything seems to disturb everything na kung ano yung kino-concentrate natin, di ba? Siguro that's why I am always promoting this one, yung breathing technique, yung relaxation technique. Whenever we feel panic attacks, always take time to rest and to relax yourself. And whenever you feel stressed out, assess yourself whether or not kung saan ka ba, ano yung mga root causes ng mga stresses mo in life. So because if we monitor and we know what are the stressors we actually have, parang magkaka-idea tayo on how we handle them soothingly and gracefully. That's the one thing I can suggest. Yun lang. How about the other speakers?
Okay, how about Sir Jonathan?
Well, actually, well, honestly speaking, related lang talaga yung I mean, kung ano yung isasagot ko, talagang related doon kang Sir Ariel kasi considering pareho kami psych grad.
Yes.
Right? So, same kami alumnus sa sa JMC din. So, basically, yeah, as far as I know, pag once, in terms of handling a panic attack and when you stress out, so ang gagawin mo lang talaga is, you need to just relax and then take a deep breath, yung breathing exercise. It's one way of, yung parang ma-relieve lang yung tension mo ba, yung inhale, exhale for a while, and then try to think na, yung parang try to think na, yung parang, i-trace mo ba kung ano yung nag-cause ng stress or yung panic mo. Okay? So after that, you should have also yung taking a break, yung sabi ni Sir Ariel, you need to have a take a break or a me time. Yun yung another term for that, me time. Having a me time, like pupunta ka sa mall, pwedeng ikaw lang mag-isa or kung may car ka, kung medyo kung may car ka nga, pwede kang mag-drive na lang along the way, kung asa ka, o kung saan ka mapunta, something like that. Kasi it's one way of, kasi, yung driving, something like that, na mag-isa lang with music. So it's one way of relieving stress talaga. Okay? So, yan. Yes, Ma'am Loy?
For me naman, kasi nagkakaroon tayo ng panic attacks because we are overthinking, 'di ba? The more we think of things that will happen to us, the more our panic parang tumataas, 'di ba? So, lalo tayong nasa stress out. So, kaya nga sabi nga nila Sir Ariel and ni Sir Jonathan, think of positive ways na hindi tayo mag-isip ng na nakakasama sa mental health natin or sa sarili natin. Kasi the more we think, the more we have those stresses, the more we have those panic attacks. Kasi nangyayari yun siya pag may isang bagay na hindi tayo nakita or hindi nasabi sa atin, di ba? Especially sa mga kids, pag hindi natin nasabihan, magaling ka, kaya mo yan, go for it. So, nagkakaroon tayo ng tension sa sarili natin. So, in short, we are the ones who are making those tensions in ourselves. Okay? So, that's why nga we have to manage our time, our stressors para hindi naman tayo masaktan at the end. Okay? Hindi tayo magpapanik. Hindi tayo magkakaroon ng mga anxieties.
Yes,
Okay?
correct. So
Next one.
So students, if when you're having panic attacks or nasa-stress out kayo, so do some positive doings like go to the beach or having meditation like that. So yes. Next question.
Kalimot na gani ko sa nilasa sa dagat ron.
Kasi we all see the dagat in sa virtual na lang, 'di ba?
Virtual beach lang tayo.
Another thing pala is when we have these panic attacks, pwede naman siguro mag-close eyes muna tayo and think of ways on how to cope this one out, like singing, yan siya, or like meditating or praying. Yun nga. Sabi nga ni Sir Jonathan, di ba, pray. Kasi yun lang ang pinaka-best natin na weapon against all these things. Di ba?
Yes. So next, let's have another question. Okay, from Miss Angel Yan. So her question is, there are a lot of teenagers self-diagnosing mental illnesses. Do you have any advice to them or to the fellow teens who plan to follow them?
Yes, actually there are lots of misconceptions about mental illnesses. Kaya nga na-state ko kanina yung ginagamit natin we normally use the term OC. We normally use the term antisocial as a introverted trait to a certain individual, where in fact it's more than complex and serious. Disorders are more complex and they are more serious. We cannot just label a certain person na OC siya kasi very organized. We cannot just label a certain person antisocial siya kasi she don't want to be to engage with social community. That's not how it works. But what I want to share, that's why we are having this kind of platform. In order this one helps us to educate people who have misconceptions, who have lack of basic knowledge about mental illnesses. So one thing I want to share also is look for further platforms or hindi kaya mga I know for sure na yung mga teenagers natin na nakikinig or hindi kaya they are engaged so much in social media platforms just like TikTok, Facebook. And I know that platforms also gives a lot of information about mental health. Instead of parang surfing all their times doing unnecessary, hindi naman unnecessary, but just for leisure, why not look after your mental health using this kind of platforms? Kasi isa din to sila nagbibigay ng mga knowledge on how we get some basic information about mental health, mental illnesses, mental disorders. So rather than exposing too much in gadgets, Facebook, Twitter, why not take it as an advantage to learn more about this kind of concept, and that I guess would definitely give you more knowledgeable and awareness about yourself, not just for yourself, and to others as well. So I thank you.
Alright. Okay,
Okay,
so
Please,
sa
yun yung
sa
words
akin
lang.
naman,
okay.
siguro marami kasi tayong nababasa, 'di ba? Marami tayong nakikita
Yes.
sa Facebook, yan sa mga social media accounts and sa TikTok. And then we always do this self-diagnosing, which is not good for us. Okay? So the best people, the best person who could really diagnose us with our mental illnesses are the psychologists and the psychiatrists. Kasi ito yung mga pinag-aaralan talaga nila ng mahabang-mahabang panahon, yung mga behaviors natin and mental illnesses natin. So, please don't self-diagnose kasi
Yes.
nakakasama siya and then nagiging ano siya parang hawaan ng lahat ng mga kasing edad natin, 'di ba? Kung ano yung ginagawa ng isa, ginagawa siya ng lahat. So para siyang domino effect. Okay? So kung nadapa yung isa, nadadapa na lahat. Okay? So it's not really kumbaga maganda okay sa atin. So if we have these kinds of parang uneasy feeling, yan, uneasy yung mga nararamdaman natin, okay, have somebody mas mature sa inyo to talk about that kind of feeling. Okay? Kasi nagsisimula talaga lahat sa emotions or sa feelings natin. Okay? So, hindi naman sinasabi natin na bibigyan kayo ng advice, but some suggestions that might help you out with that kind of feeling. So, pag frustrated ka, ano yung dapat na na magiging emotion mo sa frustration. So, somebody or like your facilitator or your counselor will ask you some questions related to frustrations or leading to that, okay? So baka lang kasi yung nararamdaman ninyo is ano lang siya parang parang ngayon lang, 'yan. So parang ano lang siya, parang dadaan lang siya tapos bukas wala na, gano'n. So you have to really define, 'yan. You have to really describe the feelings that you have before tayo magkaroon ng mga ganitong illnesses. Kasi ang stigma natin sa mental health hanggang ngayon andiyan pa. Okay, so
Yes.
nakakasama siya sa atin lalong-lalo na 'pag narinig natin, "Ala ganito pala 'yun." Tapos ito na yung naramdaman mo. So parang magkakaroon ka ng self-pity. Okay, so
Mm-mm.
naaawa ka na sa sarili mo kasi ito na yung naramdaman mo, which is wrong.
Totoo,
Okay,
yes.
so you better express your feelings. Andiyan naman yung mga facilitators natin sa guidance. Andiyan naman yung guidance office itself. Okay, the guidance counselor is there to help you out. So just really you have to express lang yourself. Okay? Huwag mahiyag magtanong, kumatok. Okay, the messenger is there, the email is there. Okay, given na yan sa inyong lahat. So, lapit lang kayo.
All right. So on my part again, okay. So basically, actually, yeah. Tama si Ma'am Doy and si Sir Ariana. Ang self-diagnosing is really an inappropriate. Okay? Kasi when in our part, okay, especially for the psychologists and the psychiatrists, okay, before they can diagnose, okay, a person, there are a lot of criteria actually. Kasi may mga student kasi or may mga teenagers kasi ngayon pag na-feel nila na something like parang ang tawag nito, ang parang na bored or something tired or something like that. I-assess or associate nila agad na ay depressed na ako, wala akong gana, wala akong something like that. Which is actually part yan siya sa criteria. But it doesn't mean na talagang pag once may ganun ka na ay may ganun ka na na symptom, something like that, under the criteria, it doesn't mean na automatic diagnose ka as something depressed ka, okay? Hindi ganun. There are a lot of criteria, okay? Malay natin, di ba? Yung na-feel mo pala na boredom or something, tiredness it's a kumbaga natural response ng sa situations na nai-encounter or nai-experience mo ngayon. Okay? So self-diagnosing is really an inappropriate, and of course, we should always remember, di ba, may sayings na little knowledge is too much dangerous, right? Okay. So that's it.
Yeah, so we highly discourage all of the students and all the viewers out there to self-diagnose yourself. So it doesn't mean na kung may obsession ka, may OCD ka na, kung papansin ka na sa social media is narcissistic ka na. So hindi po don't self-diagnose yourself. Yan.
Yes, kasi
Okay?
disorders are more than that. So
Yes.
There are a lot of criteria, di ba, Sir Ariel?
yes.
Yes.
Sir, bago lang
Saka,
tapos
ang hirap tanggapin, di ba, pag mali yung ating na-diagnose.
No.
So,
Yes.
yun ang pinakamahirap. So, that's why
Mas
we have to
makarelate
be
si Sir
very
Ariel kasi
careful.
nag-upside siya ngayon.
Kakatapos lang actually.
There are a lot of criteria talaga before we can
Yes.
diagnose. Okay.
Okay, so we can have our last one question. Okay, this is from 𝘠𝘃𝗲𝗲𝗹𝘆. So the question is how to stop social anxiety po, like how to not feel nervous in starting a conversation or talking in front of large number of people.
Ma'am Loy?
Let's have
Gusto
Ma'am Loy first.
Hala. How are you going to stop your social anxiety? Actually, we all have this one, di ba? Kasi even nga tayo, kahit adults na tayo, we always feel this,
Yes.
yung nervousness natin pag, paano natin sisimulan kausapin si Sir Jonathan? Okay? Parang, for me I ask some friends, some colleagues, kung paano ko kakausapin yung isang tao, especially if I really don't know the person. Okay? So, ito is an experience ko before when I have my first job as a guidance counselor sa years before na ito nangyari. So, my director told me na hanapin ko daw yung isang tao, tapos ang sabi ko, Doc, paano ko siya makilala? Kasi syempre bago ako sa institution and I don't know the person. So, sabi niya, hanapin mo lang yung kamukha ni John Pratt. So, isipin nyo, bago kayo sa isang institution, maghahanap kayo ng tao. So, your anxiety will grow kasi nga hindi mo kilala yung tao, yung pangalan lang, tapos yung second na description is kamukha ni John Pratt. So, halugugin mo yung buong campus para hanapin mo lang yung kamukha ni John Pratt. So, ganoon siya. And then when I started to meet the person, yung first na ko talaga is tinanong is, Sir, kayo po ba si ganito? Si Sir kasi may pinapasabi si Doc ganito. Ganun siya. So in terms naman of talking to a larger number of people, I don't know if everybody believes na yung coin nilalagay sa sapatos. Tapos parang instead of minding the people around you, you're minding the feeling of being uncomfortable with the 1 peso coin inside your shoes. Parang ganun. So, siguro may ibang gumagamit ng ganyan para hindi naman siya maging conscious when talking in front of so many people. Another one is breathing exercise. Before you talk to a person, you meditate, you breathe in, breathe out para ma-release mo din yung tension, yung anxiety mo, yung pressure na kailangan mong kausapin itong kadami-dami ng mga tao. Ganon. Okay? Especially if you're holding down the microphone, ganun siya. But in case of our virtual world, parang ganito lang yung setup natin, 'di ba? We see a lot of people sa virtual room, like ganun. Okay? So, yung takot natin, yung anxiety natin when talking to a large number of people, nangyayari siya pag sa face-to-face. Okay? Mostly sa face-to-face. Pero sa virtual world, parang may kaba lang tayo, pero we can still do it kasi yung nakikita lang nila is yung picture natin or sometimes nag-off cam pa tayo. Parang ganun. Okay?
Alright, so on my part, thank you for that, Ma'am Loy. Well, honestly speaking, actually, Miss 𝘠𝘃𝗲𝗹𝘆, actually, mahihain din ako. Yeah. But basically, I'm not fond of, I'm actually, kung i-classify ko yung self ko between introverted or extroverted, I'm more on introverted talaga. Like, hindi ako mahilig or I'm not fond of dealing with this socially or in public talaga. But then, I tend to realize in my life na, kasi pag always lang ako ganyan kasi, pag always hindi ako masyado ako matakutin sa in public, in speaking in public, parang wala kasi mangyayari sa life ko after all. So basically, ang ginawa ko is sanayin mo lang talaga yung self mo, like exposure, and then after that, face the challenge. Kasi after all, pag mag-speak ka dyan, hindi ka man nila, di ba? Ang mindset mo lang is dapat, hindi ka man nila, yung tawag nito, hindi ka nila kakainin, right? Ang gagawin mo lang talaga is mag-talk or something like that in public, okay? But the nervousness or the nervous feelings is actually, it's a natural response. Yeah. But as I said, you need to practice yourself, to expose yourself, and then accept the challenge. Yun lang. Okay.
Okay, so thank you so much, Sir Jan and Ma'am Loy. And in my part also, siguro isa kasi sa nag-feed ng anxiety natin is what's behind our mind. Whenever na magdi-deal tayo with a certain person, parang it already came out na baka may masabi akong hindi maganda, or baka I'm not pleasant to this person's eyes, or maybe I am not appealing to him or to her. Yun, I mean, most of the time, even though I cannot deny that one, there are some instances na parang sinasabi, parang pinapangunahan ko na agad yung sarili ko that maybe when I will talk with this type of person, baka iba na yung isipin niya sa akin because I'm mabilis magsalita, baka siguro to the point na mauutal ka na, di ba? So there are some instances na ganon. And then I could actually say na before you one thing that can eliminate social anxiety also is to eliminate what's behind our mind, what's behind our mind that negatively affect us, the way we connect or reconnect with other people. We have to parang mag-self-assess ka, self-reassessment on what are the things that you need to improve or what are the things that you need to organize before you want to speak with others. Kasi isa yan sa mga factors na nakakasira if it is not well taken into consideration na dapat yung di ba yung concept natin na dapat ganito yung posture natin, ganito tayo makipag-usap para maiwasan nating makakuha ng negative negative comments from the others. We should eliminate that one. We should be be more of ourselves, just relax, and then think about na hindi naman sinasabi kong we should provide limitations, but we should think that we are just human being able to commit mistakes, and so as the other person who you are talking with. Look the other person as same. Kung ano ka, yun din siya. I mean, tao ka, tao din siya. So yun. Be who you are, and of course reassess your feelings and emotions.
So in short, Sir Ariel, it's all about mind setting.
Exactly. Yes, sir. That's the point. That's the term.
Yeah.
Mindset. Nakamute ka, Ma'am Loy.
Nakamute ka, Ma'am Loy.
If we think too much, 'di ba? Yan, pag marami tayong iniisip, 'di ba? Overthinking, yan.
Yes.
So it really drives us more, parang yung iba nga crazy ang term na ginagamit. Especially sa mga kids ngayon kasi 'di ba I have elementary students now. So parang maririnig ko sa kanila, crazy na siya. Ganun. So, yun nga, nagsisimula talaga siya sa isip. Yung mga iniisip natin. And then, papasok siya sa heart natin. So, nafe-feelan natin. And then, yung iba nga, nag-hyperventilate, di ba? Kasi parang sa too much na mga emotions na nararamdaman, hindi na ma-explain. Yan. So, ganun.
Yes, it's always starts with having a good mindset, because next to that is smooth na lahat yung mga gagawin mo, di ba? So, yun.
Positive mindset. Ganun.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so Thank you so much for our speakers. I hope that all of the students have learned something new in this webinar. So I hope in the next webinar, makikita pa namin kayo.
Yes.
Yes. And and then as we celebrate the world mental health, and if you have any psychological or emotional problems, don't hesitate to talk with your parents, teachers, um, or your friends or mental health professionals. And if you can freely express your feelings or your problems, the office of the guidance center are willing to help you and guide you. So you can contact us through our FB page, GMC Guidance, Twitter account, GMC underscore official OGC, email address, guidance at gmc.edu.ph, and our cell phone number, 0946-660-883 and 3338. So once again, thank you, speakers. And then so now let's proceed with the reading of certificates.
Yes, but before that, Floyd, I would
Ah.
like also to invite others after this webinar kasi may next webinar pa yung PS Psychology Department, which is entitled My Life, My Future, My Career, Advancing as a Human Resource Professional. So we are also inviting the viewers to watch after namin mag-air sa webinar na to. Yan. So thank you so much.
Okay, so
Yung mga ibang questions pala, kung yung hindi namin nasagot, you can chat it out doon sa ano namin, sa Messenger. And then we will answer you all. Thank you.
yeah. Sir Jonathan, may i-add ka pa?
Okay, wala na po. Okay, thank you guys for listening, and I hope magkakaroon pa tayo ng next chapter with this. Okay? So,
Yes. Another
Anyway.
talk.
Okay. So, yeah. That's all. That's all, Sir Floyd.
Yes, thank you so much once again. So now may I read the citation of the certificate? Okay, 𝘕𝗛𝘂 College, Philippine-Japan Friendship Highway, sa Davao City, Office of the Guidance Center. Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Ariel Cedesados Jr., registered psychometrician, for his selfless service and sharing his knowledge and expertise as resource speaker in the webinar "You're Not Alone, Fostering Mental Health Amidst of Emotional Disturbance" during the GMC EduTrends live stream program spearheaded by the Guidance Center, given this 8th day of October 2021 at 𝘕𝗛𝘂 College, Philippine-Japan Friendship Highway, Davao City, Philippines. Signed by Maria Eloisa B. Estrella, RGC LPT MIC, Head of the Guidance Center, Dennis Ardosarte, the Office Director, and Dr. Marietta A. Muñez, the Vice President for Academic Affairs. Okay, next one. 𝘕𝗛𝘂 College, Philippine-Japan Friendship Highway, sa Davao City, Office of the Guidance Center. Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Jonathan B. Ferrer, registered psychometrician, for his selfless service in sharing his knowledge and expertise as resource speaker in the webinar "You're Not Alone, Fostering Mental Health Amidst of Emotional Disturbance" during the GMC EduTrends live stream program spearheaded by the Guidance Center. Given this 8th day of October 2021 at 𝘕𝗛𝘂 College, Philippine-Japan Friendship Highway, sa Davao City, Philippines. So signed by Maria Eloisa B. Estrella, RGC LPT MIC, Head of the Guidance Center, Dennis Ardosarte, Office Director, and Dr. Marietta A. Muñez, Vice President for Academic Affairs. So thank you so much for to the speakers, and students, don't forget to fill out the evaluation form. It is already posted. And then before I give the floor to the host, may I read a short quote by one of the psychologists in the psychology, which is Karen Horney. So, to search for truth about self is as valuable as to search for truth in other areas of life. So, thank you so much. So, may I call on Jadel and Harry?
Yes, thank you so much to the speakers. Thank you to Sir Ariel, Sir Jonathan, and Ma'am Eloisa for giving us their time today. And also thank you for the students. Thank you to the students for interacting with us.
Yes, thank you. Now that all of the questions have been answered, we will now proceed to the reading of the certificates to be given to our wonderful speakers.
Let's have the closing prayer na po. Ayun.
Now we have reached the final part of our program. Miss Donna Habakon will now do the closing prayer to officially put this program to a close.
All right. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let us bow down our heads, close our eyes, and feel the presence of our Almighty Father. Almighty Father, the Creator of all, we thank you and praise you for this wonderful day that you have given to each one of us. We thank you for being with us, especially in our webinar activity today. We thank you also for the blessings and the divine providence that you have set for this activity to be successful and effective. May we also retain the knowledge and learning experiences that we have learned from this activity for actual application. Your generous blessing means the success of this seminar. We know that without it, we can do nothing. With this, Father, we give back all the praises, glory, and thanksgiving to your Son. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so thank you so much to everyone. Thank you po for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you to the students. And we will now end our program. Thank you, guys.
Bye!
This certificate is worth 25,000 pesos and it can be yours today. Introducing the Gift of Education Certificate to power up your school life at 𝘠𝘂𝘃𝗏 College. Yes, access to world-class education is now made possible for you. Isn't that amazing? With this certificate, you can now enroll at 𝘠𝘂𝘃𝗏 College. What are you waiting for? Click yes to your educational success. Register and claim your Gift of Education Certificate today. Power up your school life. Click yes to your educational success. At 𝘠𝘂𝘃𝗏 College, your future is our mission. Enroll now. Visit www.jmc.edu.ph for more details.